I'm Jane Foster. I'm the Programme Director for Oxfam New Zealand. Oxfam works with a network of rural training centres in Vanuatu, providing much needed technical and vocational training to young people who live in very remote and inaccessible parts of the island nation of Vanuatu. One of the key ways that they use to communicate with the Rural Training Centres network is a rural email system based on VHF radio frequencies. We believe that the technological innovation that Team OneBeep have achieved would enable them to extend this rural email network, increasing communication, increasing access to educational materials in an affordable, low-cost way using really appropriate technology.
Walter Bender, the ex-president and co-founder of OLPC, has been very helpful, and after our discussions with them, this was a response about OneBeep. This concept will enable OLPC deployments to piggyback on technology that's already in place. He goes on to saying, learning is fundamental to addressing the numerous challenges facing the world's children, and OneBeep has the potential of providing a vital link to the learners. Our discussion with commercial companies to get their feedback has been very successful. Cordia Network New Zealand, along with their sister company in Australia, control the biggest marine radio broadcasting network in the world. This is what Aaron Alford, the business manager of Cordia Network New Zealand, had to say. Team OneBeep's solution is truly innovative and will help in maximizing the potential of OLPC deployments throughout the world. We had a meeting with Honorable Mike Moore, the ex-Prime Minister and the former Director General of the World Trade Organization. This is to get his guidance and feedback. This is what he had to say about OneBeep. This concept is a game changer, can have a profound impact in the developing world. He has raised OneBeep concept at the World Bank, and people are very interested. We have been offered to run a pilot program in the Pacific Islands and its 5,000 OLPC deployments. Here's what Mr. David Leeming, the technical advisor to the Solomon Islands Ministry of Education, had to say. We could use Team OneBeep solution to transmit data from the Ministry of Education to all the schools in the country without the need of internet or expensive equipment. We are on to a real winner here. Add OneBeep to the OLPC schools and it is a miracle. We have examined different business models to deploy out our solution, but our highest priority is to enable these devices to be connected to the world. First, we can have OEM licensing with the manufacturer to incorporate our software straight from the manufacturing stage. We can license the software to OLPC or Intel Classmate PC. We can open source the software so that the worldwide community can take part in the further development. And third is to license the technology to a corporate sponsor, such as a radio infrastructure company like Motorola, Siemens, on the premise that they will keep it open source and free. And why would they want to do that? Well, brand awareness and corporate citizenship, and maybe to win contracts in countries that need further radio infrastructure. Essentially, it all comes down to one question. Will this make a difference? Well, as you can see, people who are working in the field and have got experience think it will. The response from people who are working has been overwhelmingly positive, and they have confirmed the impact and the feasibility of OneBeep's solution. Now we have shown you what the world is doing. Created and deployed 2.6 million laptops and plans to deploy 30 million over the next 5 years. What are we doing? Well, we are helping connect these devices. Through the power of OneBeep, we can help provide these children with the tools to improve their education and learning. We have the passion, the drive, and being engineers, the technical expertise to make this a reality. So now you might be thinking, what can you do to help provide these children with the tools to improve their education and learning? Well, you can say yes. Yes to us and the Imagine Cup. Your yes will help us get exposure, networking, potential funding, and most important of all, coaching and learning, and access to people with the expertise who can help change our idea into a reality. By saying yes to us and Imagine Cup, we believe we can change the life of millions of children around the globe, because we are targeting one of the world's biggest issues and have come up with a unique solution. I would like to finish by saying on behalf of Team OneBeep, Jinkua, thank you. Thank you to Microsoft making Imagine Cup a possibility. Thank you to you all for being here. And thank you to Poland for making this experience just fantastic. Until we make until we make this imagination a reality, please stay tuned. One child, one life, one beep.
Thank you very much. Great presentation, loads of passion, love it, fantastic. Quick question for you. You're using OneBeep to send audio, use audio to send data around the place. If I have a 20-page document, say, normal size, about how long will that take to send over the airwaves?
Our current speed is 1.5 kbps. To give you an idea, it will take 10 pages of text. It will send 10 pages of information in less than 5 minutes. But this is broadcasting mechanism in which you can send that information to thousands of people at the same time.
And you made your own audio protocol to actually do the encoding?
Yes.
Yeah, so that it works well with the actual device you're hitting against?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much.
I have to say, I think this is one of the world's biggest problems. I wish you guys luck in solving this. It's huge and it'll make a big impact. I also would like to thank you for letting me know what it sounds like. Maybe I'm dating myself, but I remember the days of modems and listening to the twerps and all that. I have a question. I'd like you guys to expound upon the economics. There's a couple of interrelated things. First of all, what's in this for broadcasters to push this out? I presume you're not going to build your own radio stations, and most of them are going to have to be incented somehow. And that dovetails into the competitive landscape where I think there are different solutions for maybe different demographics or densities or something, but you can talk about satellites or WiMAX or different things. So from a cost perspective and maybe market segmentation, can you talk a little bit about where your product is most suitable and how you motivate broadcasters?
Okay, I'll start with the market. Now, we have been contacted by governments in Rwanda, Vanuatu, and the Solomon Islands. And they've told us, basically, in their countries, the government controls majority of the AM bands. Ministry of Education has broadcasting mechanism available to them. And they've been more than happy to provide us with them for our field testings, plus the deployments. And that's the same information we got from Rwanda as well in Africa. We've been informed that the governments have AM frequencies available for transmission. And now another thing that can be is, because we have an auto start feature in there, you can use frequencies at night. So when the traffic is low, especially in African countries and maybe South American, when maybe 2 o'clock in the night, you just leave the laptop on for a bit before you go to sleep and put it in standby mode. Our software works in the background, receives the file, shuts the computer down. This being the side of the frequencies. Now the second question you had was about...
You kind of answered both the questions a little bit. I mean, maybe you want to say more about, so you identified Rwanda and some other countries where there's national interest in promoting this.
Yes.
Is there private sector areas, and how does it compare with alternatives?
Yes. And other alternatives that are there are all hardware dependent. So you need a satellite receiver, you need a WiMAX receiver. So you need the receivers to be deployed out before. But from the feedback we have is every village has a radio. And the thing about these laptops is they can talk to each other. So only one computer in the class needs to receive the information and can pass it on to the rest.
Thank you.
Thank you for the presentation. I have one question related to that is that in your business model, your revenue streams, you mentioned the first one was licensing, and you mentioned OLPC, right? So you guys are already in talks with OLPC.
Yes.
So have you started discussions on the licensing portion?
Yes, we have started talks on the licensing portion. And we still would like to keep it open source and free. Even if we license it to OLPC, the discussion with OLPC has been that they believe in a broadcast mechanism. That's why we have encrypted the data as well. We want to keep it free so when you send it out, everybody with a radio receiver can receive the data. So licensing was in the terms of the fact that so that OLPC can maybe help us deploy the out solution, because if they have the rights on the software, they'll be more interested in promoting it. In that fact, that's the licensing aspect, not the revenue stream.
Okay, so out of the three, in a sense, which one, in terms of your execution plan, which kind of markets will you first target to go out?
Initially, we would like to start with the current deployments of OLPC, the 2.6 million, being Vanuatu, Solomon Islands, and Rwanda, which we've already been offered to do. Because of university, we haven't started that. We'll do that within the next 5 months. And I think the majority of our highest priority would be to put the software onto the next 30 million that are going to be deployed in the next 5 years, from manufacturing stage.
Okay, thank you.
Hi guys, great stuff. My question is related to the previous question. It has something with the partnership. How do you build a partnership in order to make this work? Governments, NGOs, radio stations, educators, and whatnot. So do you have certain a model to reach out to those target regions or countries?
And that has been one of the biggest challenges we as a team are facing, to build partnerships. And because of that, we have planned to go ahead with our field trials, because that will help us bring a credibility to the solution. Because we can say it works, but unless a specific government or a company sees that, yes, they have done field trials and the solution worked, they will not go ahead with it. And that is why, close to home in Vanuatu and Solomon Islands, we want to go ahead with the plans of deployment.
Okay. Thanks.
Thanks. I am extremely impressed with this simple solution which actually replaces very costly infrastructure. My question is, can you even think about going beyond the string of characters? I know it's very challenging. The documents is not only the text. What can you do about that? Thanks.
I'm glad you asked that. Last week, we did a full transmission of software on this. Now, OLPC runs on these sugar-given softwares, and these are small games, interactive games for children to use. And we did a transmission of one of those games across the radio network.
Well done.
So my question is also technical in nature. Like Tom, working in the acoustic days of analog, there was a lot of error control, because if you transmit something and you get a glitch, yes, you want to be able to retry. Being that you're a one-way transmission, a unidirectional communications, what do you do about error control? Because I know AM radio is very staticky, especially when you get into fringe areas. And as you're transmitting the information, how much error control can you actually put in to your protocol, and have you tested it in some fringe areas?
We have 3 different methods to handle errors. One is to repeat the data, and second is to shuffle them up, and third one is data correction method called Hamming code. So if one of the bytes in the file stream is wrong, then that can be located and fixed. So in our current development, we can recover up to 25% of the data that was sent in the noise environment. But if the file that was received was text file, then whether or not it is corrupted or not, we can still show with some corrupted characters inside.
And so the 1.5 kbps transmission speed includes all the error correction that you have.
Yes. And that is one of the reasons why the speed is slow. We can go up to 4 kbps, but half of the bandwidth has been dedicated to error correction.
Right.
Thank you.
So you can send any file type with this system. That includes things like, if I wanted to send a zip file as opposed to just a 7-bit text file, I could do that?
Yes, definitely.
And so that means I could probably get even more in and start sending
compression is one of the techniques we are looking at right now. We are trying the files that we usually send, other than text files, are already zipped. And we're also looking at creating our own method of compression, so maybe make it more, maybe we can compress the data even further so we can get more throughput.
Yeah, I mean, when you send the data, do you actually do you spread around a particular part of the data around several seconds or half seconds so that a click or a buzz won't affect the actual data stream? Is that correct?
Yes, we have incorporated flags in the data. So when the data transmission starts, the data doesn't come directly. First, there's a flag which tells the computer to get ready, and the data is between the sounds. So there's a lot of error correction and fluff around the basic data. So when the computer receives it, it can decode it back.
Okay.
Would you venture a guess on what your revenue will be like in, say, 5 years, and how you get there and what it consists of? Talk about that for a second.
Sure. Basically, we want to work with a person or a team which has got more business experience as well, and that is something we wish to bring on top of in our team. Now, that is why OLPC and Intel Classmate PC has asked to help us out with the business revenue streams of it. And I'm not too sure if I can venture a guess on how much money this will be making, but I can be sure that this is making a difference in the children's life.